On this episode of Webcode101, we take design to a whole brand new level. That's right, we're going to be designing a website so that we can code it in the future episodes. So stick around, stay tuned. This is Webcode101. Hi guys, welcome to the first episode for 2015. I'm Russell Harrower, your host with the most, well, at least that's what I like to say. We're going to be designing a website today. Now, it's no coding, you're just going to need either a pen and paper, or like I'm going to do it on the screen. The reason being is to show you guys to how I go about designing a site that then I'm going to code. It's always important to have a good understanding about your limits and the areas that you're going to do before you actually do it. Because if you just start coding, you may not be happy with the end result, and your pages may look different as well. This way it gives us a good theme, a good base, and we're able to actually pinpoint the things that we need to improve on in a page that doesn't work with one page, and we need it to be standard with everything else. Also, it's a great idea to understand how a storyboard works, and that's what these things are called, as storyboards. The reason being is because when you sit down with a client, you're going to basically want to demonstrate your ability to understand what they're saying to you and to get their needs and their wants and everything down packed into a tight site. So normally when I'm sitting with a customer, I have a blank piece of paper, and basically I will go, okay, well, you know something, I get it, you want a header, and your menu, your logo, a slider, so as you can see, my page is coming along, and then you might want 3 items down the bottom, and your footer. So, there you go, that's basically what I'll do in front of a client. It took me 2 seconds to do, but now I'm going to actually do it with you on the screen, and a little bit more detail. So let's do it. So the first thing you want to do is open up Fireworks or Photoshop, whatever you feel comfortable designing a website in, or if you're old-fashioned, get a piece of pen and paper, and make sure you have a pen or a pencil. Pencil most probably better. So the first thing you want to do is create a new document. Always, if you're doing a desktop design, which in this case we're doing it at 1024 pixels by 720 pixels. The reason being is because that's normally the width and height of a desktop computer. The resolution we're going to keep at 72 dpi. Now, a dpi is dots per inch. Inside a computer monitor, a computer monitor is basically built up of lots and lots of dots. So the more dots you have covering an area, the more high quality it is. So if I was doing this for print, I would choose 300, excuse me. Okay, we have it, we've got a white background. What we're going to do is we are going to do our header first. So this is just basically layering everything out. So there we go. It's exactly 1024 width, as you can see on my left hand side. I'll zoom that up for you. And the height, you know, we're going to go with, let's go with 100 for the time being. We can always change this at a later date. Because I know kind of what I'm looking for, the effect I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for a chocolatey kind of color. So because we're going to build a chocolate website. The site is going to be called Wonkaholic. One word. We are going to just go there. Don't worry about the font too much so far. So it's going to have a home page. Just space it out by four spacebars. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then type in the next one. Then go 1, 2, 3, 4. And oops, I don't know what happened there. One, 2, 3, 4. And then type in. So that's going to be our menu. Now it doesn't look fancy at the moment, but once I do this, so basically I'm pulling it out to, of course, make sure that it's all on one line. There we go. Now that's a bit large, so what we're going to do is going to change the size of it. I'm also going to float it to the right because, well, that's what I would like. Now it looks a bit small, but that's only because the size of the page is at 82. I've just made it 100 pixels. So that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. The logo, we can change that to any font that you want, or maybe you have a design that you like. I am going to change the menu text from Helvetica to... Now, the reason why I'm leaving it as text is because I can actually use that font in a website with HTML5. I'll explain that in a later episode. So, okay, I've got that. You know something? Not too fond with that being there. I would actually prefer this to be here. Prefer this to be centered. There we go. Next thing we need to do is put our banner or a slider in. The reason why I choose to put no image there, I just choose to go black or white with these type of areas, is because the client will supply normally the images and text and all that kind of stuff that they want there. You might have to change it just to make sure that it fits. But just the look and feel of the site. I'm not doing anything that will make the site function or anything like that. I'm just going to, so this is a slider, and then you might want to put a what does the slider do? So that there, basically, so when you show your client, they're able to understand exactly what it does, and hopefully it's something simple to them. You might also say down here, you might go, okay, you know something, that's all good and well, but how many slides can the customers have? The client might say, oh, you know something, three products isn't enough for us, we need more. The next thing I want to do is place my squares. It's important to know exactly your space that you can work with, because not all browsers are 1024. So what I normally tend to do is I draw just a rectangle line. I go 980 by say 30, and I know that there is pretty much my limit that I can work with. Now it looks like a lot of space here, so the next thing I can do is go, okay, well, I'm going to go 250 by 250. You always want to make sure, if you have 3 squares in the middle, or just anything that's going to be one after the other, try to make sure they're even when you're designing them, because it's going to make your life 10 times easier once you go to actually code it. But when we do this site, we are going to use some really simple tools to actually help us code it. So once I'm happy with it, I just remove that, and the next step is to create a footer. Again, to create a footer, all I need to copy is the header and footer that we've already created. Scroll down to the bottom, place it at the bottom. Now, it's up to you how high you want your footer. In my example, I'm going to go 40, because I don't need it to be too big. I just need it to be small. You technically don't even need a footer if you don't want. Make this smaller, so I'm going to go 20 pixels. The other thing I want to do is make sure I put a copyright symbol there, which, thank goodness, I just chose somehow the correct one. And go to 2015. I might say, okay, well, you know something, I want that to actually be like 10 pixels. I don't want it to actually even be in that area. I want it to be above it. So it's like that there. Bring that down. And there you go. You got your copyright, you got your Wonkaholic logo, and the next thing we want to do is put our stamp on it. So this is basically who you are as a designer. if you're designing this for a client. If you're not, if you just start designing it for yourself, don't have to worry about this part. So there you go, there's our basic design of our site. It didn't end up looking exactly like that, but I actually think that's a little bit better anyway. Of course, you might want to just fix up your lining up, because clearly that logo is not in the center. Some things will change once you go into design mode, because of course things do change and your client's needs will change as well. So that's the site that we're going to be designing. So I'm just going to save this as the home page. Next, we want to do the about page. I always save it as about page or about before I start tearing apart, because as I've learned in the past, that I have a tendency to do the work and then hit save. So if you're someone who is very fast and proactive, then you know, just save it as your next page and go from there. When we come back, we will take a look at how we do our about page. This episode of Webcode101 is proudly brought to you by Harrower.XYZ. For all your website design needs, head over to harrower.xyz. Let's take a look at the about page. So when we left you, we just saved it as about.png. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove that stuff there. I'm going to keep my squares, because I'm going to actually use them in my next layout. But the difference here that I'm going to do, so I'm actually going to select them, and I'm going to give them a border so that I know where things are. Now I'm going to send that to the back. I'm going to bring this to the front, and I'm going to rotate some of these. So I'm going to rotate that one like that, like so. I'm going to rotate this one like so, but the other one can most probably stay as it was. Now, there's plenty of ways that you can do your page, so I've chosen to do it like this here, which basically will feature 3 images. Now I could have it up here, and then I could have, say, my text here, so I could go about Wonkaholic. So this is the header of our page. You always want to make sure your header is about 20 pixels, I reckon. Try to stick to your guidelines, which is 980 width, if that's the guideline that you're using. Again, you can use the very good rule that I use, which is just a very thin line. Make sure it's centered, which in this case it is. Then I can go, okay, well I want it about there. Then I know that I want my text down here. So I'll just go text, 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 text. And, oops. And paste it. Like so. And you might just go like that there. Now, that's all good and well, but we've got all this space here. So what I would normally do here is I might have, okay, well, this is about us, so how about we put we can either put some pictures here, or you might go, okay, well, I don't really like this layout, so let's put that there, let's put that there, let's put that there. Let's move this up to, oops. Let's group it. Let's move this up here. And we can choose something like this. The difficult thing that we're going to face is, if you have a picture like this, you're going to have a little bit of issue with your text, because your text is going to keep going on and on and on unless you do what we're going to do. So we're going to leave it like this so that we can demonstrate different ways to do text. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to copy that, bring this one down, give it a bit of a space so it's like a paragraph, and just make it smaller. There we go. So we're going to put that there. Now, your customer might go, oh, you know something, I want to change it around, I want to have those three pictures that we had before, or those three squares that we had going across. They might want to put it in the middle of the two paragraphs, just to make it stand out a bit. It's up to the client. You've got to remember the client knows best, so try to please your clients where possible. We're also going to make the paragraph text smaller, because, well, we can. It's always a good thing to actually make the header of the site should always be your biggest. Your H1 should be your next biggest. Then your paragraphs should be smaller than your H1. If you have H2 and H3, of course, they should be a little bit bigger than your paragraph text, because you want to make sure that people understand that it's a brand new header. So there we go. There's our about page. Very simple, very easy. And basically, you can keep going on and on throughout all of these pages. But that's all we've got time for in this episode. In the next episode, we are going to continue on our design phase with the chocolates, the store, and the eShop. So stick around and stay tuned for that. That's coming out next week. From everyone here at Webcode101, I'll see you next time.